First item on the agenda, let me just come back and tell you that item 16, AB 1876, Lopez, has been pulled from the agenda. And we have 4 items on consent. Items 2, AB 735, Ridley Thomas. Item 9, AB, is it 1639, Monshame? And item 18, AB 2137, Santiago. And item 27, AB 2826, Weber. Those 4 items are on consent. That leaves us with 25 bills to hear this morning. And the first sign-in is Ms. Bonilla, Assemblymember Bonilla, who has 3 bills. And what would you like to start with?
Well, my favorite, 934.
Okay.
Definitely.
AB 934, item 3.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Chair. And it's wonderful to be able to be first up because I know a lot of people in the audience are here to comment on this bill. And I think, what's wonderful about today and this bill is that we're going to be able to have a discussion here within the state legislature on very, very important issues. And I guess I'll preface my comments by saying that I'm a teacher, and I love the teaching profession. It is a calling. It is a profession that I feel is easy to be passionate about. 2 of my 4 daughters are high school teachers currently on summer break. And some people have asked, well, why your interest in the issue around supporting teachers in the classroom. And it's personal, of course. I'm also a grandmother, so I have 3 children, 2 back in school. The cycle continues. So the issue of teacher support is very, very important to me. And I embarked on this bill, reading the news, looking at what has been happening, hearing anecdotes, knowing from my constituents that there are growing concerns. There is the court case that has been referenced many, many times. And when I think about it, I think about the fact that, all the courts can do, frankly, is really say there's something wrong. They can diagnose, they can say there's something wrong, but we here in the legislature truly are the ones that hold the cure. And it is incumbent upon us as legislators to find the cure and then dispense it, implement it, allow it to go forward. And I believe that 934, even in its amended condition, really will bring a cure to the children, the students in California. I don't believe we can wait. I think there's going to be comments today saying, well, let what we did work out, or, there's more to be done outside of this House. And I would say, yes, that's true. There's a lot more to be done. But what we're going to have before us today is a first step, a very important step, and I believe a critical step. One that we shouldn't ask our schools, our teachers, and the students of California to wait any longer. For us to take action as the legislature. That is what we are here to do. So I am accepting the committee amendments in addition to the clarifying amendment that limits negotiations of the dismissal process solely to cases of unsatisfactory performance or unprofessional conduct. The bill does not allow any negotiation involving egregious misconduct. That is not a part of this bill, and we've made sure there's a firewall there. AB 934 makes substantial changes to teacher probation and dismissal. Administrator training, no one has paid any attention to that, but I'll tell you it's an important piece of the bill. As a teacher, I think it's very important that when we're talking about performance, we include our principals and administrators along with our teachers. Training and accountability preserves local collective bargaining rights. When I was talking about a cure, I truly do believe the cure is more teacher support. We can, and many people do attack the profession, they attack teachers, but what is the answer? The answer, in my opinion, isn't a court case, and it's not just even a law. It's really saying that we need to change our culture within our schools And particularly at the front end of our profession, we need to come alongside those new teachers. We need a coach in the classroom working with them. What this bill does in its current form is recognizes that we are among a tiny minority of states that does not have 3, 4, or 5 years of probation, and it moves from 2 years of probation to 3 years of probation. And I've heard the argument, why do you want to keep a mediocre teacher in the classroom for an extra year? Well, I don't. And so what I want is I want the administration of a school district to have skin in the game and say, you know what, we want that 3rd year of probation, but we want it with teacher support and coaching. And if they're willing to give the coaching, they're not going to be keeping the mediocre teachers. They're going to be keeping those young teachers that they believe have potential, that coach is going to help them reach the potential of being an excellent teacher. And I think that's the benefit. That's the focus of the bill, is to come in at that front end when the BITSA program ends and that coach leaves, and to have the district come in with another teacher to coach that new teacher. If we're, looking at the dismissal piece of the bill as well, the bill in its previous form was very broad, very sweeping, and people have said they're sorry that I amended it, and I'm like, I'm sorry too. In fact, I'm probably more sorry than you are, seeing as how it was my bill. When we come here, they always say, don't fall in love with your bills, but we do. You can't help yourself when you've spent the better part of a year working on an issue. So, but I feel that what we've settled on here, and what we're bringing forward today, is still critically important. Most people don't know that it is prohibited in state law for a school district, for a collective bargaining unit of teachers and the administration to actually sit down and bargain a workable dismissal process. They're not allowed to do that. This bill would allow them to do that. This bill would honor local control. It would honor the local bargaining unit. It would honor the local leadership of our great districts, of our strong administrators, of our leaders, our teacher leaders, who realize that the current mechanism is broken. And I really don't think you're going to hear anyone today defending the current dismissal mechanism. And the reason you're not going to hear them defending it is because it doesn't work, and they don't use it very often. Nearly every district has a workaround. How do you get rid of a teacher that you've just had countless complaints, they maybe have unprofessional conduct, they've maybe lost the passion, they just aren't doing the job anymore. How in the world do you move them out today? Well, the preferred method, the workaround most districts use, is called a settlement. And that means that basically they sit down and they say, what's it going to take? What's it going to take to get you to leave the profession? And it's a payment. And usually beyond a payment, it's also the fact that we're not going to say any bad things about you, right? You can go teach in another district, and they're not going to find out that we didn't want you here. That's the settlement often. That does not help education. We are not raising the bar. We're not helping the morale of the hardworking, the 8% of our great hardworking teachers. I like to say we're offering a settlement to the teacher who, personally, I wouldn't want teaching my granddaughter, but I'm a great teacher and no one's offering me a bonus. And that's really indefensible. So I don't think you're going to have people up here when they're opposing the bill saying, we love the current dismissal, it's working so well, it's just really great. It isn't. It isn't working, it isn't great, and it's not defensible. Today we could actually begin to change that with this bill. We could actually say, you know what, we believe in collective bargaining. We think it works. We know we have some great administrators, great principals. We could give them permission, authorize them to begin to fix this problem. As I said earlier, yes, I wanted a statewide mandate, but we're not going to get that today. But we can get something that would be very workable, that would set a standard, that would be a model, that could prove that to other districts that it actually works. And that model most likely will be the teacher support and peer counseling, peer assisted review coming in to help our struggling teachers, and then an expedited appeal process, perhaps binding arbitration. That's what I think you'd see happen in most of the districts. So the other issues in the bill, I talked a little bit about increasing accountability for our administrators. Very important. One thing I've heard from teachers is, you know what, my principal doesn't know how to evaluate me. It's so frustrating. Can you imagine being evaluated by someone who doesn't know what they're doing with an evaluation. We talked to LA Unified, and they told us, you know what, we instituted a 5-day training of our principals on how to do an evaluation. Our teachers loved it. And we said, that's a great idea. We're going to put in the bill that every district needs to train those administrators who are doing the evaluations, needs to train them on how to do a good evaluation. An evaluation that isn't just saying you're doing a bad job, an evaluation that says, here's what you need to do. Here's where you can become a better teacher. Here's some strengths that we want you to work on. That's in the bill. Also, there's in the bill a plan that superintendents are going to develop that they're going to take to their school boards, and they're going to talk about in that plan, how are they doing administrator evaluations, and how are they supporting their principals? If you hear a second complaint, and I know you're going to hear a lot of teachers here today complaining about my bill, but I'll tell you, this is what they really complain about, and that is principals who are not demonstrating strong leadership on the school site. And so my bill says, you know what, in front of the school board, there needs to be a process developed, there needs to be a policy developed on how are we going to support our principals and work on that side of the equation. It is not just the teacher. It is the principal and the administration as well that we need to be focused on to really see improvements and increases in performance. We are in the bill also saying that we believe districts should use peer mentoring for principals. Brand new principals shouldn't just be thrown into that job. And I will say, you know, many in the years of budget cuts, not only have we seen teachers laid off and many effects within our schools, but we've hollowed out a lot of the administrative support that our principals had. A lot of the counseling, a lot of the support staff, and the fact that in the bill it says, give them mentoring, give them coaching as well, is another very important element of the bill. You know, you're going to hear a lot of comments. I will wait until you hear them to respond to them all. I've read through them myself, and I really believe I do have an answer and a response to every criticism you will hear of this bill. I am hoping that I can appeal to you to support this bill, to vote today to do a good thing for the students of California. I have with me today some folks right from the field who will speak on behalf of the bill, beginning with Superintendent Jim Morris from the Fremont Unified School District, where we've seen a best-case scenario take place. A great example, we have Donna Artukovich, a legislative advocate for the PTA, who are also in support of the bill, and Stephen McMahon, Chief Business Officer of Administrative Services for San Jose Unified School District. And I am proud today to have our administrators, AXA, in support of the bill, the School Board Association in support, and the PTA in support of this bill. And we'll start with the superintendent, if that's okay.
Thank you very much. Let's hold for a moment and establish a quorum. Call the roll, please.
Blue.
Here.
Blue here. Block. Here. Block here. Hancock. Huff. Here. Huff here. Leyva. Mendoza. Monning. Here. Monning here. Pan. Vidak.
Present.
Vidak here. It's 5.
Thank you. Well, welcome to the committee.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair and members, my name is Jim Morris. I'm the superintendent of the Fremont Unified School District, and I'm here in support of AB 934 because it extends the probationary period from 2 to 3 years, provides peer mentoring for new teachers, and authorizes local districts to negotiate alternative dismissal process. I am here celebrating my 36th year as an educator in the state of California, and I've long supported the concept of increasing the probationary period for new teachers before they earn permanent status. Currently in my district, I have to make a decision with a teacher after 18 months of service about whether or not to grant them permanent status. And if I'm not sure, I default to the option of releasing the teacher if there's any question. And in many of those cases, I believe with additional support, we could really have a successful teacher. Increasing the probationary period from 2 to 3 years gives the teacher more of an opportunity to improve their skills, and it will increase the number of teachers we're actually able to retain in our school district. Furthermore, I'm very supportive of the idea of this peer mentoring, induction, coaching program to really support teachers as they come into the profession during that third year. The support is really critical for their success. One of AXA's ongoing priorities has been to reform the current dismissal process. Until this happens, we strongly urge supporting LEAs, local school districts, in negotiating their own dismissal process where there's mutual agreement between management and the unions. This authorization, I believe, really could unleash some out-of-the-box potential in local school districts and real collaboration between administrators and teachers in new ways of thinking about that dismissal process. The aphorism, "Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good," comes to mind here, because I really believe this is an important and good first step. For the reasons I've described, I would respectfully ask you to support AB 934. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the Senate Education Committee. My name is Donna Artukovich, and I'm here as an education advocate for the California State PTA in strong support of AB 934. I'm a former teacher of nearly 30 years and a former school board member. But today I'm here to speak on behalf of the PTA as a parent and a grandparent. The California State PTA recognizes the importance of effective teachers. A highly effective teacher makes an enormous difference to each child in a classroom. One way to develop highly effective teachers is to ensure that administrators are trained to provide meaningful and constructive evaluations of teachers. Evaluating teachers in the past has meant judging them, criticizing them, finding fault with them. AB 934 emphasizes a different approach. Evaluating teachers means helping them, finding mentors for them, supporting them. You know, teaching is a very complex profession, one that requires subtle skills not easily taught nor evaluated. Recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of a new teacher is difficult, not always apparent. In addition, AB 934 gives teachers an additional year to hone their skills, find a route that works for them, find ways to inspire every student, not an easy task. That extra year will give both the teacher and the administrator time to find out if this is truly the profession for them. You know, first-year teachers are in shock. Second-year teachers tentatively find their footing. And by year 3, it all starts to work, or not, depending on the teacher. 3 years makes so much more sense than 2 in discovering if teaching is truly the profession for you. And finally, encouraging districts to locally negotiate alternative dismissal procedures is vital. Most people don't realize that teachers do not want a weak and ineffectual teacher in their school. It is a reflection on all of them. Teachers want to teach side by side with other effective teachers. So in conclusion, the California State PTA urges you to pass this bill. Require administrators to become effective evaluators. Give teachers an extra year to find their footing. Allow them the ability to negotiate terms of dismissal. You will strengthen the profession, strengthen our education system, and help all the children in California. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please.
Good morning. My name is Stephen McMahon. I'm a former teacher of mathematics, former local president of the Teachers Association, and currently the chief business officer for the San Jose Unified School District. Under the leadership of our superintendent, Nancy Albron, and the president of our local Teachers Association, Jennifer Thomas, we've negotiated one of the best supervision and evaluation systems for teachers in the state. It's received a lot of positive press. People in Sacramento know about it. It's a top-to-bottom system. Our administrators are highly trained. All of our teachers receive consulting teacher evaluations, so they're getting peer reviews and evaluations. And the most important piece is the teacher quality panel. 3 members of the teacher quality panel are appointed by the union. 3 members are appointed by the district. It takes a vote of that panel to change the non-reelect decision to permanent status and the dismissal decision. Unfortunately, when the panel votes 6-0 to dismiss an ineffective teacher, the vote's meaningless. because we have no local control over dismissal. Our own school board can do nothing when a joint panel between teachers and administrators votes to dismiss an underperforming teacher. When the peers in the union are saying this teacher should not be in the profession, and the local school board is unable to act on that because of the government code, it's time for a change. We are here in support of the bill for that very reason. For the last couple years, we have been trying to enhance collective bargaining rights and let locals negotiate dismissal. We've been trying to enhance the profession. You have the opportunity today to do both. If you move this bill forward through the committee, people can continue discussing collective bargaining rights and continue discussing enhancing the profession. When a locally elected school board has no control over dismissing the teachers it employs, it's a problem. And today you can do something to address that problem. Support collective bargaining rights and support high-quality teachers. That's what San Jose Unified does, and we hope that Sacramento follows that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any others in support of the bill? Please come forward and identify yourself.
Good morning. Carlos Machado with California School Board Association. We are in a position of support if amended. We appreciate that the author's taken the amendment on the induction bits piece. That's something that we had asked for, and we appreciate the author's efforts to provide more flexibility around the provisions related to giving districts more opportunity to work with their local unions on a permissive basis. There are other aspects of the bill that we are still continuing to work with the author. We're hoping to make progress on those as the bill moves forward. But in this regard, we're currently in support if amended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura Preston, Association of California School Administrators. We also have a supportive amended position on the bill. As you know, the bill is not as comprehensive as some might like, but we think it's a good first step and a good opportunity to have a discussion about the need to go to 3 years for probation, and the fact that we are unable to negotiate a different dismissal process, allow districts with their unions and management together to be able to negotiate something that works for them. As you heard from San Jose, that's one. There are a number of districts out there. Will every district take advantage of it? No. But will some? Yes. And so this would be an opportunity for that to occur. We do have a few issues we wanted to continue to work with the author on, should the bill pass out of committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any others in support of the bill? Is there opposition to the bill?
No, everyone loves it.
Okay. All right. Why'd you trade seats here?
And then if there's questions, come back up. When they have questions, that'd be great, Jim.
The opposition wants us to pass this out. Is it okay?
Is this CTA? How come there's no,
They just gave it to us like 5 seconds ago.
what do you think? It doesn't have, there's no, it needs to be identified as to who's distributing it.
Great testimony.
They just let them present. Right.
Yes, it is. Tell you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Sorry.
Yep.
And members of the committee, my name is Jeff Freitas. I'm the Secretary-Treasurer of the California Federation of Teachers. I'm a former high school math teacher from the Carpinteria Unified School District. My sister's a teacher. My husband's a retired teacher. My 2 brother-in-laws are teachers. My nephew's a teacher. My father-in-law is a retired teacher. And my sister-in-law is a teacher. And I am here today to speak on behalf of the 120,000 educators, both in and out of the classroom, that we represent in California, in strong opposition to this bill, AB 934. Although we support the idea of providing administrators with training on how to effectively evaluate teachers, which is what is needed, the concept that administrators need to be evaluated on a regular basis, and I am here today to focus on the impact that this bill would have on teachers and our students. The CFT believes that AB 934 is a misguided bill that seeks to take away the due process rights of teachers. Our members see this bill as a direct assault on their profession. Let me say this very clearly from the beginning. Reducing or eliminating job protections will not improve public education. Let me repeat that. reducing or eliminating job protections will not improve public education. In fact, extending a teacher's probationary period so they do not qualify for due process rights until 3 years of classroom experience and seek to enforce them to negotiate away their right to an impartial hearing in dismissal proceedings will only serve to deter prospective teachers from entering into the profession and will encourage veteran teachers to leave the classroom, such as myself. In the end, our students are the ones who suffer. Rolling back this law with fewer rights that we had 40 years ago is not the direction to work. As you know, California is facing one of the most severe teacher shortages in recent history. The Learning Policy Institute estimates that California school districts will need to hire between 60,000 and 135,000 teachers in the coming years. In fact, Madam Chair, you are the author of SB 915, which will create the California Center for Teaching Careers and was recently funded at $5 million. In addition, the author of this bill, Assemblymember Bonilla, is the author of another piece of legislation, AB 1756, which will create a 4-year integrated teacher preparation program that is now funded at $10 million. Finally, the CFT is proud to co-sponsor AB 2122, which will create the Classified School Employee Credentialing Program that was recently funded at $20 million. In all, the state of California is investing $35 million in teacher recruitment to address a very dire teacher shortage. Despite these efforts, AB 934 seeks to make it more difficult for incoming teachers to obtain simple due process rights in dismissal proceedings by extending the probationary period to 3 years, thus keeping the ineffective teachers in the classroom longer, require the third-year probationary teachers participate in a third-year BITSA, oftentimes at their own expenses of thousands of dollars, and require local bargaining units to bargain away their right to a fair and impartial hearing in dismissal proceedings. Not only is this bill an erosion of teacher rights, but is an assault on Californians' ability to attract new teachers into the profession. This bill, if enacted, will ensure that California's teacher shortage will become more severe and severe to undermine the legislature's and governor's attempts to address this critical issue. In the end, this bill represents an unfunded mandate that will prove costly to employers, employees, the state of California, and most importantly, our students. The CFT believes that this is not the way that California should support its educators and make the profession attractive to prospective teachers. What is needed? An effort to adequately fund our schools, provide genuine support for our teachers, which Peer Assistance and Review has done in the past, and it's unfunded. Improve working conditions and implement efforts to teach the whole child through site-based healthcare, mental health counseling, and access to libraries that are open to our students on a daily basis, among others, like our community day schools or community schools. In addition, we have to make teaching a respected profession for prospective teachers. We have to maintain the due process rights that they deserve, pay them a fair competitive salary, evaluate them fairly, provide them access to high-quality professional development, and ensure that they have the classroom resources they need to be successful. AB 934 does nothing to support hardworking and dedicated educators who teach our most valuable resources, our students. Nor does it do anything to make the teaching profession attractive to prospective teachers. No, in fact, AB 934, a gut and amend bill that has been fully vetted by the legislature nor education stakeholders, is a misguided education policy that will only serve to harm teachers, our students, and our state. It is for this reason and these reasons that I respectfully request for a no vote on this harmful piece of legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freitas. You've taken quite a bit of time, and we do have a lineup, so I'm going to ask I'm sorry, but I didn't forewarn all of you, but I'm going to ask that the rest of the testimony be a couple of minutes.
I'll talk very fast, Madam
Talk
Chair.
fast. Thank you.
Seth Bramble here on behalf of more than 325,000 members of the California Teachers Association, respectfully in opposition to Assembly Bill 934. Senators, you all have a powerful story that brought you here today. In terms of my story, I started teaching at McKinley Elementary School in San Jose, high needs community of color, low income. And I was an activist coming out of college, and so I did not hesitate when my local union asked if it would be okay if Channel 10, the local news, came to my house to interview me. We were in the middle of a salary dispute. It was a teacher shortage, much like we face today, and the union was asking for a salary increase in order to attract quality teachers to fill some of the classrooms that were really just being filled by substitutes at that point. And Channel 10 did come by my house. They saw a first-year teacher and their family. I had my wife and child in a very tiny apartment, interviewed us. We were saddled with student debt. A first-year teacher and his family all over the news in San Jose may not have painted the Franklin McKinley School District in the best light. I was not living well, but I loved my job. I loved working with kids, guiding their learning. I was non-reelected my first year of teaching. I was told, we're going to let you go and we're not going to tell you why. And that's not right. I had no idea whether there was some professional deficiency where maybe I could have sought some professional development that summer. I had no idea whether I had just selected the wrong profession. But the reality in California is that educators for the first 2 years can be let go for any reason or for no reason. And this proposal is seeking to extend that insecurity and that instability for a third year. I heard the author say, why wait, in reference to the dismissal process. I think we can agree that when you take on some drastic change, you should give it some time to see if you've achieved the desired result. This proposal around dismissal is premature. The legislature recently streamlined the teacher dismissal procedure, saving time and money while preserving due process. Just last year, Assembly Bill 215 took effect, making significant changes to the teacher dismissal process, the kind of changes we haven't seen in more than 40 years. And I really appreciate the work of staff in outlining what some of those changes look like in your analysis today. But AB 215 created two separate processes, one for egregious cases and one for issues like unprofessional conduct and unsatisfactory performance. It required the process be completed in 7 months. It limited the number of depositions. And if we're in a state of making constant changes to the dismissal process, excuse me, wrapping it up, we would in fact make the process worse. As my colleague mentioned, we're in a moment where we need to figure out how to attract and retain new quality teachers. This is the wrong path. In some, the bill destabilizes the teaching profession, especially for new teachers. This will have long-term negative impact on school communities and on our children, and I ask you to join educators of California in rejecting this proposal.
Thank you, please. In opposition.
Madam Chair and members, my name is Dan Reynolds, and I teach English and U.S. History at Mount Diablo High School in the city of Concord. I'm a parent of a third grader and a kindergartner, and I'm here to speak in opposition to AB 934. AB 934 negatively impacts students. Educators have earned professional due process rights, and they need them to be able to advocate freely on behalf of their students. Due process supports teachers, and it supports students. Teachers may ask for extra textbooks for that student in the corner or complain about unsafe conditions for students, and sometimes the principal gets fed up because they're having trouble delivering on the fix. How many times do you ask before you're afraid to ask again for fear of being fired? This is not a reason to non-reelect a teacher. We need due process rights. AB 934 seeks to strip teachers of their due process rights, will not improve student learning, and in fact will make it harder to attract and retain quality educators in the classroom. Having these rights also gives teachers the ability to speak out on behalf of our students over issues like safety, class sizes, and adequate supplies, or to teach about sometimes controversial national and world issues without fear of retribution. Teachers do not have due process rights in the first 2 years, and this bill would like to remove due process in the third year. AB 934 seeks to change current law and do away with professional rights of educators and does nothing to protect educators from arbitrary firings. Please vote no on AB 934.
Thank you. Next, please.
Senators, my name is Deborah Boehm. I teach 5th grade at Stokewell Elementary School in Riverside, California. I am the mother of 4 students and the grandmother of 2, and an 18-year educator. I urge you to vote no on AB 934. It makes our profession less stable. Extending this time of uncertainty when employees do not have permanent status means certificated employees will feel their job is less secure and less stable. I want you to picture that college graduate, fresh out of college, ready to start life as an adult, who chooses teaching in the midst of a teaching shortage. 2 years until they can have a permanent position means 2 years before they can buy a home or start a family, and this proposal suggests extending it to 3. This bill is not a way to make teaching more attractive to new college graduates. We need to spend our energy in figuring out how to convince our best and brightest college students to think about teaching as a professional career. During our probationary years, teachers allow our rights to be trampled on because we want and need a permanent job. Things like the principal volunteering probationary teachers to cover another teacher's class during their prep periods, or the principal volunteers those probationary teachers to do yard duty every morning instead of rotating it. That's the time that new teachers need to plan for their day. Or the principal asks the new teacher to take more students in their class than the contract permits, knowing that if the teacher files a grievance, they can simply let that teacher go. No one's rights should be taken away, and extending this probationary period does just that. At the beginning of my career, I was non-reelected at the end of my 2 years because I simply let the district know that our principal was lying to the district about something she was doing at the school. 18 years later, I'm a mentor teacher and a very successful math and science teacher for kids who need it. This bill means that our new teachers are not feeling secure or stable in their job, and we need more good professional people in this.
Thank you, ma'am. Please.
Thank you for allowing me to share the reasons that I oppose AB 934, and I urge you to join me in this opposition. My name is Bootsy Battle-Holt. I'm a National Board Certified Math teacher at Marina Del Rey Middle School in Los Angeles Unified School District. I'm an elected member of my union, UTLA, and I'm a 2016 LAUSD Teacher of the Year. Outside of the classroom, some of my recent work includes being a teacher evaluation coach, traveling to Berlin with Secretary of Education John King to attend the summit, the International Summit on the Teaching Profession, as well as a meeting in the Oval Office with President Obama to discuss assessment and accountability policies during the development of our new ESSA. Recently, I was introduced to a draft of AB 934 that resounded with a very clear teacher voice. But the draft that is before us for a vote today retains not even an echo of what teachers think and say about the issues at hand. Teachers agree that layoffs should contain some consideration of performance. The latest amendments to AB 934 remove this consideration entirely. Teachers agree that due process rights are important throughout one's career. The previous version of the bill honored teachers who are on a differentiated learning trajectory. The newest amendments have cut this important consideration. Teachers agree that districts and local education agencies should have to prove that an educator received help, support, and guidance to improve on weaknesses. The latest version of this bill states that districts and LEAs can make up their own rules and fire teachers as they see fit. Let us not let our legacy be that we do not listen to what teachers have to say about teacher concerns. Let it not be said that legislators in California do not listen to the professionals who work with students about what is right for students. AB 934 is teacher policy without teacher voice, and that is why I oppose it.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's just identify yourself and the organization that you represent, please. Opposed to the bill.
I oppose the bill. My name is Steve McDougall from Salinas, California. I'm a teacher at Salinas High School, former president of Salinas Valley Federation of Teachers, and I'm now the Northern California Vice President of the EC-TK12 Council of Teachers in the CFT. I oppose.
Thank you.
My name is Rico Tamayo. I teach in Pico Rivera, California for the El Rancho Unified School District. I currently am president of the Early Childhood TK-12 Council for the California Federation of Teachers. I represent roughly 72,000 teachers. I spoke with many of them, and they find this insulting. I oppose this bill.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tanya Golden. I'm a sixth grade teacher at Carver Elementary at ABC Unified School District in Cerritos. I'm also the vice president of my union of elementary, as well as the secretary of the it's easy for me to say, TK-12 Council for CFT, and I do strongly oppose, and please vote no on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lindsay Bird, 13-year teacher at Grace Davis High School in Modesto, California, 2009 recipient of a seniority-based Pink Slip, and 2015 Outstanding Teacher of America from the Carlston Family Foundation. I respectfully ask you to oppose this bill.
Thank you.
Hi, Madam Chair. My name is Nick Melvoin. I'm a former Los Angeles Unified School District teacher, Markham Middle School in Watts. Now I teach teachers in their master's and credentialing programs, and I'm disappointed to have to oppose, but I do strongly oppose.
Thank you.
Hello, Madam Chair. I'm Kip Morales from Alliance College Ready Public Schools. I'm a Teacher of the Year. I'm also I also was laid off from Yale USD, and I'm a teacher coach. I oppose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Walker. I'm a 13-year veteran teacher at Delta High School and River Delta Unified. And in 2015, I was the Sacramento County Teacher of the Year. And as a support provider for new teachers through their BITSA program here in Sacramento County, I ask you to please strongly oppose the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nina Dixon Mauricia. I am a 15-year teacher veteran for San Diego Unified School District. I'm also a member of the CTA. I'm asking that you respectfully oppose the bill before you today.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Christopher Eide, a longtime teacher. I'm a national director with Teach Plus. We were honored to work with Assemblywoman Bonilla on the first version of this bill, but as it currently stands, this is a bill without any teacher support. We urge you to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mike Stryer. I'm California Executive Director for Teach Plus and former LA Unified teacher. And unfortunately, we formally oppose the bill, partially based on the fact that it fails to establish tenure as a true earned professional benchmark. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben Austin, Policy Director at Students Matter. We very much appreciate the author's good faith attempt on this bill, but we strongly oppose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julia Macias. I'm a Vergara plaintiff, and quite frankly, being in the California school system right now is like being in a lottery. You have no control if you get a good teacher or an ineffective teacher, which is why I must ask you to oppose this bill, not only for me, but for the thousands of kids in the school system. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Daniela Martinez. I'm also one of the 9 plaintiffs in the Vergara versus California lawsuit. I oppose AB 934.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Karen Martinez, and I am the proud mother of Daniela Rosalba Martinez, who is in the Vergara case. And I urge you to do what's right, not what is politically right, but do what's right for our kids of California and vote no on AB 934. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Shantaine Fauntleroy, and I teach physical education at Bret Harte Middle School in Hayward, and I ask for your no vote on AB 934. This is the wrong policy in a teacher shortage.
Thank you.
Good morning, Senators. My name is Don Tarquin, and I teach mathematics at University High School in Los Angeles for the LA Unified School District. I urge a no vote on AB 934. When teachers lose due process, kids lose advocates.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Leslie Keir. I'm a art teacher, middle school art teacher in San Francisco, 14 years. Starting next year, I urge a no vote on AB 934. California teachers do not support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Preach. I am a parent of a student in the San Juan Unified School District, and I oppose AB 934.
Thank you.
Steve Henderson, representing the California School Employees Association, also in opposition.
Thanks.
Madam Chair, Bill Lucy with Ed Voice, also opposing, and I think it's
very important. It hasn't been brought up, so if I can bring up, I have a handout with current law, but to point out on pages 23 and 27, this bill in print creates a new category of untouchables because of the way it's drafted and the convoluted process of amendments. People who are not in the highest rated category would have no way of gaining permanent status. This bill is severely flawed in its drafting. The additional requirements as it relates to how it deals with principals and administrators and are also highlighted in my handout, are already part of current law that was there prior to 1974. It should be part of the LCFF baseline apportionments to school districts. Additional mandated funds from this bill as drafted would be coming from English learners, kids in poverty, and foster care kids. The governor and unwanted paycheck deductions from teachers. The governor vetoed AB 141. Department of Finance said it at least at a cost of over $100 million was AB 141. This bill is not fully baked, even though it's over 100 degrees outside.
Mr. Lucia, we did not distribute the amendments that you have because there was no identification on the...
Those were...
there was no identification as to who it came from.
Those were current law.
No, I understand that,
No,
but...
just to let you know, for current law, but I think it's important that you all know that page 23 and 27.
Thank you.
You create something where people may never get permanent status. You create a new category of untouchables.
We appreciate that. But next time, please bring, if you're going to distribute something, please bring something that has an identification as to who it's coming from. Okay, any others opposed to the bill? All right, any conversation or comments, questions from members?
Madam Chair, could I have those in support?
Of
join me
course,
back at the
yes.
table? Thank you.
Yes.